What is up guys, Tava here, and so yesterday I was outside shooting some photos on my camera and I decided to throw in this little lens that I've had for a while now. I actually did a review on it like 2 years ago, and I just decided, why don't I just throw this into my camera bag? Maybe I'll try taking some photos with it, see what it looks like. And it's actually this just tiny little $30 lens I got off of Amazon. And so I put it on my camera trying to get some photos with it, and when I came back to my computer later and looked at them, I was just shocked at how vintage and filmic the photos looked right out of camera, just with this cheap little lens. So what I like about these lenses is that you don't have to do anything in post to them. They already look vintage from the camera itself. And how they do this is because the lenses are cheap themselves, so the glass isn't perfect. Around the edges, it starts to get blurry when your f-stop's down low at like 1.7. You'll start to see this blurriness in the edges while the middle is still very sharp. So you kind of have this natural vignette around the edges that looks pretty cool and vintage in my opinion, and is the look that a lot of people are going for in post or by using film cameras. And I think it's pretty cool that you can just use a cheap lens, stick it on your nice modern camera, and be able to get these results fairly easily. So personally, I have two of these lenses. I got one off of Amazon new. It's just this cheap like $30 lens, 25mm f1.7, and then the other one I got off of eBay, which is just like a 28mm 2.8. And they both have this look that's just really unique, and you can't get off of modern lenses because they're perfect. The glass looks really good, and it's just the imperfections that end up making the photos and videos look better, which I think is a little ironic, but it is a stylistic choice that a lot of people are looking for, and I think this is a great way to go about and get it. And you may be wondering why not to get an actual film camera or just to put these effects in post. But my answer to that is this is super cheap. You really have nothing to lose. These lenses, like I say, are $30. It's just worth it to have in your camera bag. And of course, shooting things in camera instead of adding it in post is always gonna end up looking better. So the look that the lens gives is real and not added later, which is just a better way to go about it. So here you can see I have my Lumix G7, which is a modern mirrorless camera. And then on the front of it, I have this kind of vintage lens here I got for really cheap off of eBay. And it just helps to give that imperfections in the glass and make it look really cool. And then in contrast to that, I have this really tiny lens, which you can see is tiny in comparison. And it has a really low f-stop, kind of cheap glass on it, and gives this really cool vintage look. Just a little side note while I'm editing, this little lens, as amazing as it is, really can only be adapted to mirrorless cameras or micro four thirds cameras. Because the sensor size is so small, it can fit this small of a lens, but bigger sensors can't really adapt to it. So it really only works with small micro four third mirrorless cameras, but there are lots of other options for other cameras. So just as a live view, you can see as I'm walking outside with this lens, the edges of the shot are blurry while the center is in focus. And you can just see it gives that dreamy vintage look that everyone wants. But if I come into a subject and focus on that, you can see how the background gets really blurry and swirly and just has this super cool look that's really uncommon in modern lenses, and I think that this cheap lens really supplies well. And you can really see as I pull focus between these subjects how the bokeh looks and how vintage and filmic it looks. And because of that, a lot of these shots will look really good in black and white. But that's enough talking. Here's some photos and videos I was able to get using these lenses, just going around and shooting. So check it out. Personally, I think it looks pretty cool, but if you want to find any of these lenses, I'll leave a few linked below. But if you want to find them on Amazon and eBay, just look for lenses that are super cheap and have a shallow depth of field, and most of them should have a pretty cool effect like this. They're not going to be super sharp except for in the middle, but that's what you want for this filmic, dreamy look. Anyway, that's it for today. If you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe because it helps me out a lot, and I'll see you all next time.